Hi, I'm Dee Sarton. You know, television is a great way to learn about the world we live in. And that's why this edition of Exploring Idaho is made just for kids. Reported by kids, for kids, we hope you enjoy this special edition of Exploring Idaho.
Exploring Idaho for kids! That means fun places, fun stuff to do, and fun facts you should know. There are strange landmarks, outrageous activities, wild wildlife, and happening history. I'm Scott Crum. And I'm Brianna Bauer. And we think Idaho is cool.
Bye, Bree. Have fun.
Bye, Mom.
See you later, Scott. Good luck.
Thanks. Have fun? How am I supposed to have fun here? Good luck. I need all the luck I can get. The library. This place is big. How come you're here? Oh, I have to do a report on Idaho for school. Me too. What about Idaho can be that interesting? I don't know, but I guess we'll find out. Whoa, there sure are a lot of books on Idaho.
Hey, look at this. This one has information about Idaho's land. Did you know that Idaho has the deepest canyon in the country and a waterfall taller than Niagara Falls?
Taller than Niagara Falls? No way!
Yes way. And look, there's even more. Idaho's land has a lot to share. Riverboats zoom up Hills Canyon, the deepest canyon in the country. And hikers climb the highest peak, Mount Bora, in central Idaho.
There are strange shapes to see, like this one in south central Idaho. Can you tell why it's called balanced rock? Near Soda Springs, this man-made geyser shoots water 100 feet in the air. And underground, caves like this one hold dark and beautiful secrets. Yeah. Idaho's a big state, bigger than New York, New Jersey, Massachusetts, and New Hampshire put together. Cool! Out of all 50 states, 37 are smaller than Idaho. In all this space, Idaho has all kinds of terrain. There are green forests filled with trees, many more than 100 years old. Rugged mountains cover half our state. In central Idaho, they're called the sawtooths because these jagged peaks on top look like the teeth of a saw blade. Wow! The sawtooths and the rest of Idaho's mountains are part of the huge Rocky Mountain Range.
Out of the mountains comes Idaho's most precious resource. Every spring, snow melts into water and makes its way down the mountainside. Drips become streams. Streams join together, and soon small rivers form.
In some places, those rivers tumble over steep cliff walls to create a wet natural wonder. Waterfalls!
There are places where you can stand so close, you can feel the mist from the waterfall. This is Mesa Falls in eastern Idaho. In southern Idaho, Shoshone Falls is spectacular and big. Shoshone Falls is taller than the famous Niagara Falls in New York.
There are places in southern Idaho where waterfalls burst right out of the riverbank. This area is called Thousand Springs. The water comes from springs that are deep underground. Now the water flows on downstream and into Idaho's lakes. This is Lake Pend Oreille in North Idaho. It's just one of thousands of lakes you can enjoy in our state. People say our state has some of the prettiest lakes in the world.
Idaho is not all wet with water. There are very dry places too. These are the sands of Bruno Dunes in southwest Idaho. Geologists say these grains of sand were once solid rock. Over thousands of years, the rock broke down and formed these giant dunes. Today, the wind blows beautiful patterns and ripples in the sand. Another desert in southwest Idaho is less barren than Bruno Dunes. The Owyhee Desert is home to juniper trees and sagebrush and is a fun place for hikes.
Did you know here in Idaho you can visit the moon? Well, almost. Craters of the Moon National Park is as close as you'll come on Earth. This entire area was once red hot with molten lava. Now it's cooled into twisted cones and strange shapes of rock. And astronauts have actually trained for moon missions at Craters of the Moon.
Wow, Bree. Hey, look. All these books are about fun things to do.
Here's one on rock climbing. Have you ever tried it?
No, but I know a kid that's really good at it. In fact, kids here can kayak, go hiking, or mountain biking.
Kids can do all sorts of things. Remember when we went snowshoeing?
Yeah, it was cold.
But it sure was fun. Let's show the truth first. You pulled me over.
I was helping you get up.
Yeah, some help. This was 2 years ago. We strapped snowshoes under our boots and off we went, walking on top of deep snow. Lots of people snowshoe now. They even use them for jogging. But the great thing about snowshoeing is kids can do it. Kids are doing pretty well on the ski slopes too. Well, most of the time. Some kids like to snowboard.
Woo, woo, woo! All right, yeah!
In Sun Valley, there's a special cross-country ski trail for kids. It's fun to go under these arches, and if you fall, at least it's a soft landing. Remember that young climber Scott talked about? Here he is. He uses special ropes for safety and then climbs straight up rock walls.
It's fun. You try harder stuff. It's more challenging for you.
Kinda scary. Have you ever ridden a mountain bike? There are lots of trails to ride. It's not that hard, and once you get out there, the view is worth the work. Something you can just do over and over again and never get tired of it. Some kids race their bikes. Others ride on cowboys. This kid climbs through small caves underground.
I really like it. It is very awesome. And I really think you should see it.
And these kids learn to paddle kayaks. They practice in a pool so they can try it on a river.
Ready! Go!
When the holes and waves get really big, I kind of get a little scared, but I've got a lot better, so I'm not scared as much.
This is a kayaking rodeo where people do tricks in their boats. Other kinds of boats run Idaho's rivers too. This is a jet boat. It has such a powerful engine that it can speed against the current and take people up rivers. Rafts take people down rivers and usually get them wet. If you really want to get wet, put on a mask and some scuba gear. Then you can swim underwater. Underwater, you'll see plants and crawdads and fish. Speaking of fish, you can catch lots of them in Idaho, like perch or trout or sturgeon. This kid is a squaw fishing champion. There's big northern pike, and in winter, you can scoop Cisco with a net.
Oh, Craig. Oh, all right. That's it.
These kids are learning how to tie flies.
I just kind of got interested in fly fishing, and then I started tying flies.
And Idaho even has its own version of Disneyland. This amusement park is in North Idaho. With all the fun stuff to see and do, how will we ever decide what to do first?
All right, I'm ready to go.
Scott, no, we have to stay here to find topics on our book report.
Okay.
While we're looking, here's a question for you. Can you name any of Idaho's state symbols? Each one tells something special about our state. We'll show you them in a moment.
We'll also show you Idaho's wild wildlife when we return.
Exploring Idaho for kids! Exploring Idaho for kids!
Did you know that every state has symbols that tell something about it?
Yeah, Idaho has symbols too. Even if you don't know what they are, you've probably seen one.
That's because the people who picked Idaho symbols picked the things that are important to our state. From the state bird to the state flower.
The Idaho gem to the state animal.
There's even a state fish and a state fossil.
Every state symbol shows something special about Idaho.
The mountain bluebird is our state bird. In the springtime, you can see those bright blue little birds hard at work. Mom and Dad flutter and hover above tall grasses in search of juicy bugs. Then down they go and come up with dinner. This catch goes back to hungry babies waiting in the nest.
Have you ever smelled our state flower? The syringa is a large bush with white blossoms. But don't let its delicate looks trick you. The syringa is a tough plant. It can survive even the harsh heat of this lava field. With only a few drops of water, the syringa still blooms the beautiful flowers of Idaho.
I get to hug myself.
These people are excited to find Idaho's state gem. The star garnet is a breathtaking stone. You can find it along stream beds in north-central Idaho. When this one is cut and polished, it will show off rays of light against a dark red or purple background. It's easy to see why this stone is the star of the gem state.
Can you pick out the state symbol in this scene? It's not the trees or the riders, it's the horses. The Appaloosa is Idaho's state animal and the oldest known breed of horse. Nez Perce Indians bred Appaloosas long before white men came out west. Even today, these spotted horses are favorite for riding into Idaho's backcountry.
Ooh, there's a nice one.
Under Idaho's lakes and rivers swims the state fish.
Whoa!
Fishermen spend many hours hoping a cutthroat trout will bite their hook.
See the cutthroat?
Many who do catch a cutthroat put it back. That way the rest of us can enjoy this state symbol for years to come.
And that brings us to the last state symbol of Idaho, which is also the oldest, 3 million years old to be exact. These are the bones of a Hagerman horse, Idaho's state fossil. The horses once roamed the grassy plains near Hagerman. Today, you can see the fossils on display at the Hagerman Museum. What you doing, Scott?
Oh, I'm working on another state symbol. It's the state seal. The state seal shows things that are important to Idaho. There's a pine tree, a river, and a head of an elk. The elk stands for our state's wild animals.
Idaho has a lot of wildlife.
Yeah, wildlife. Now that's a topic I can get wild about. Idaho's wild country is a perfect home for wild animals. One place where you can see a lot of wild animals is at Harriman State Park. That's because more than 10,000 acres of land are protected just for animals. In the fall, bull elk bugle at each other. Big brown moose munch on grasses and raise their young. And dozens of species of birds, like these snow geese, fly through Idaho every year. There are so many animals, kids take nature walks to see them.
But there's a secret to seeing them. Does anybody know what that is?
Be quiet.
Be quiet.
High in Idaho's mountains, it takes sure steps to survive. Mountain goats have what it takes. They walk and hop without any fear next to dangerous drop-offs. Special pads under their hooves help them climb rocks. Lucky for them, mountain goats aren't scared of heights. This wolverine could use some added traction. Although he has trouble running on ice, wolverines have no trouble with their noses. Wolverines can smell things from miles away. They can even smell you. So chances are you'll probably never see a wolverine in the wild. A lot of people are afraid of this wild animal. This is a grizzly bear. Grizzly bears eat fish and berries in the summer, then take long winter naps. At first, Idaho's deserts may just seem dry and hot, but look a little closer and you'll find all kinds of life. Birds of prey circle overhead. Snakes slither on the land below. And lizards look like modern-day dinosaurs. Some of the animals that live in the desert are dangerous, like these poisonous scorpions. They come out at night. Their bodies glow an eerie green when they're caught with a special light. Have you ever heard this sound? If you have, you were probably pretty scared. But rattlesnakes are more rattle than bite. Most times, they are just as afraid of you as you are of them. Stand still or back away, and rattlesnakes will usually move on. Did you know there's a desert bird that lives underground? These baby burrowing owls pop out of their nest to take a look around, and Mom stands guard nearby.
Mac, look out your window.
You don't have to go very far to see wildlife in Idaho. Ask your mom and dad to take you out sometime for a look. No matter where you look, underground in caves or at the tops of trees, Idaho is filled with all kinds of animals.
Wow, I never knew so many kinds of animals lived right here in Idaho.
Yeah, and some of them have lived here for thousands of years.
Thousands of years? Hey, that gives me an idea. Come over here.
Over where?
Over here, to the section on history. Idaho's history holds hundreds of interesting stories.
That is a good idea. Let's look some more.
From ancient bones to the Oregon Trail, Idaho's history has it all.
We'll show you when Exploring Idaho for Kids returns.
Exploring Idaho, more kids!
Did you know that scientists have found 10,000-year-old bones in Idaho?
Idaho is a lot older than we are. It's older than our parents. These science students are digging up the bones of a giant mammoth. You can see from this model that mammoths looked a lot like modern elephants. But mammoths are much older. They lived in Idaho about 10,000 years ago.
Around that same time, the Snake River Valley was flooded by a wall of water. The Bonneville flood was so big, It carried these giant boulders like they were little pebbles.
When the flood died down, the rocks stayed behind. Early Indians scratched the rocks with beautiful symbols. The symbols are hundreds of years old, and you can still see them today.
Petroglyphs?
Petroglyphs.
Petroglyphs.
It's a hard word to say, but they're called petroglyphs. Native Americans consider them sacred.
Modern descendants of those Native Americans still live in Idaho. They dance and hunt and always remember the traditions of their ancestors.
Some of those ancestors are the ones who built Idaho's oldest building. The Cataldo Mission is 150 years old and still standing tall.
Another old building gave shelter to pioneers headed out west. This is Fort Hall in southeast Idaho. It was an important stop for wagons along the Oregon Trail.
Riding the Oregon Trail was tough. So tough that some people didn't make it. These people are reenacting that historic journey out west.
It isn't easy, but we got it so much easier than what the pioneers had it.
Once the pioneers settled in, they went to work building towns. Over the years, they slowly grew into the towns we live in today.
And Idaho cities are growing all the time.
So do you think you know everything there is to know about Idaho now?
Yeah.
Then this Idaho puzzler shouldn't stump you. Can you name the year Idaho became a state?
We'll have the answer to our Idaho puzzler next on Exploring Idaho for Kids. Could you name the year Idaho became a state? Idaho was the 43rd state to join the Union in 1890.
Hey, this trip to the library wasn't so bad.
Yeah, look at all these books. I never knew there was so much about Idaho.
Working on the reports was kind of fun, too.
Well, let's not tell our teacher that.
Good idea.
Come on.